Hello and welcome to Seth Stream Part 2. I know you probably hate me now in the area, or perhaps as the descendant of the noble white-winged clan, you harbor no such vulgar emotions as hatred. Kind and gentle as you are, perhaps you have forgotten me. Perhaps you have accepted what I did, and now you pity me for being trapped in prison of solitude again. But still, good kind Aniria, I insist on making one last selfish request. Please hate me. Please hate me for eternity. If I know that you hate me, I can remain connected to you. If I know that you have not forgiven me, the pain of that will enable me to feel you close to me. As you're laughing at my convoluted reasoning, then let me say it more simply. I am lonely. I feel eternal solitude. The fear has been with me ever since I killed you with my own 2 hands. 900 years have passed since when we first met. In the conventional way, I took a husband. Even more conventionally, I gave birth to a son. Soon after naming the baby Seth, my husband died in an epidemic at his bedside, of course. I cursed the fate that would not let me die. Had you not been there with me, Aniria, I would never have been able to find the strength to raise Seth by myself. You said to me, there is no greater joy than for a child to be born and grown up healthy. Filling words from you, sole survivor of the white-winged clan, you also said to me, you will be right, Seth. You are no longer alone. Now you have said, you will never be alone as long as he is with you. I nodded to you in tearful recognition of the truth of your words, and you went on with some embarrassment. Leave Seth to me, and I will train him to be a full-fledged man of the sea. If anyone should dare to threaten him, I will protect him with my life. I know how kind you were, Aniria. How truly kind. Even now I can recall the carefree smile on your face when you were playing with Seth. No, that's not even there. What am I saying? I don't know. He was such a frail little boy, but you steeled your heart to train him sternly. And on those days when he had cried himself to sleep, I often caught you in profile watching him to sleep. Your face, I don't know, with effable gentleness? Yeah, that's it, I think. How glad I am, Aniria. The fate brought us together. In my endless long life, I can declare without hesitation that you were my finest companion. So why, Aniria, did events play out the way they did? To this day, I have no idea why. Do you? Did you know why those things were happening to you? This is why I would like to know. All the more so because I can no longer learn the answer. I desperately want to know it. That was it. Why couldn't I read that? I don't know. It happened 30 years ago. I said goodbye to you and Seth, and made my way to the Tower of Mirrors. For the memory had come back to me, the mission on which I have come to this world, the task I had been sent here to accomplish, and the reason I promised I possessed memories of 1,000 years spent in this world. I was a pirate who prized freedom above all, and what I enjoyed most of all was leaving wildly on the open seas. Sorry. Exactly why I was drawn to freedom, I myself did not know, and this when I learned Deep in the heart of those desired freedoms lies in the pain of freedom denied. It was you, Aneria, who who first taught me the expression prison of solitude. And it was true. I was trapped in a prison of solitude. Not simply, however, because I was confined in a cave on a deserted island. For me, being in this world was itself a prison of solitude. When I came to realize this, I headed for the Tower of Mirrors in order to return to the world I had come from, nourished by my 1,000 years of memories of having lived in this world. I would return to the world where I belonged. In the Tower of Mirrors, he was waiting, Gongora, the man to whom I was supposed to return to my original world. I had no way of knowing, however, this was a trap that Gongora has set for me. I can never forget how he stood there, sprawled legs and defiant, before the Tower of Mirrors, laughing that arrogant laugh of his. My stomach turns when I recall his hateful face, and my flesh creeps when I think of his cunning, fearsome trap. Gongora had no intentions of returning to our former world. Instead, he hatched a fiendish plot to make himself ruler of this world, and anyone who resisted him, he crushed without mercy. I was one of those who stood in his way. As soon as I learned of his evil design, I flew back to my pirate ship. Of course, such a monster could not be satisfied with merely waiting for me there. Knowing him, I felt a terrible foreboding. Seth, Aneria, I screamed as I leaped into the ship. In the next second, I saw with a gasp my foreboding had been correct. Both Seth and you were there, Aneria, on deck. Seth lay bleeding, and you, when you became aware of me and slowly turned in my direction, you had a strange gleam in your eye, and there was something in your mouth. It was Seth's leg. You had ripped it from his body. All sound faded. Seth laying there in the sea of blood, his leg torn off, trying to cry out to me. I couldn't hear a thing. I could read in all sorrow-filled eyes, however, his plea. Don't blame Aneria. It's not his fault. I'm sure I must have said something. What happened? Or perhaps, how did this happen? Or calm down, Aneria. Be strong, Seth. But then again, I must have simply screamed, too rattled to produce coherent words. In any case, I could not hear my own voice. You were glaring at me, Aneria. Your eyes shone horribly. You were no longer the Aneria I knew. You have been possessed by some wholly other being. Why, Aneria? Why? You split out Seth's leg and left it to drop onto the deck, and then you came after me. Seth's voice broke the silence when he shouted, "Stop!" He was screaming at you, Aneria, or at me to stop. The whole scene became enveloped in white light. When I regained consciousness, I was lying on the deck. As I slowly opened my eyes and raised myself, I realized that my sword was gone. I had only an empty scab at my waist. I looked around with a shock, and there you were, Aneria, lying on your back. My sword had been plagued into your chest and stood there like a grave marker. Aneria! I screamed and ran over to you. I started shaking you, but your eyes were shut tight, and there was no sign they would ever open again. I shouted at you to wake, to come back to me. Then I shouted to Seth. Hurry, Seth, come here, and there he is. There was no reply from Seth. Having lost so much blood, he was unconscious. If only you had been merely unconscious, Aneria. If only you had badly, wounded but alive. If only you could have started breathing again. But my sword had done its job of horrifying perfection. It had pierced your chest exactly where it needed in order to take your life. I stared at your corpse, I don't know what the word is, sorry. Oh, Aneria, lone savior of the proud white-winged clan. Tell me, please tell me, what happened? Was I the one who killed you? I sensed someone approaching from behind. I turned to find Gongora staring at me, expressionless. You killed him, he said softly, his voice devoid of emotion. I shook my head, wincing. No! My voice was hoarse, trembling. Gongora went on as if slowly pressing his words into my ears. It was you who killed him. No! I would never do such a thing! The trembling of my voice spread to my entire body. To think I might have killed you, Aneria, with my own two hands. That could never be! This is what I wanted to believe, but the reality before me was shattering such hopes. Gongora threw back his head in contemptuous laughter, all but proclaiming his victory over me. You see now, Seth, what you have done, killed the one you most loved. You are on your back to the prison of solitude. Again he laughed aloud, and he was still laughing as he left the deck. The man who knowing I could never die, set a trap for me that was crueler than death itself. I collapsed where I stood. Looking up at the sky, I felt the tears pouring down my face. Tears of blood. Again, I was pledged into eternal solitude, never to be released from it by its death. Never to be released from it by death. Gongora succeeded in locking my heart in darkness again, sealing it in my memories with it. I wept uncontrollably. I screamed until it ripped my throat to shreds. In my heart, my mind and soul were something lodged inside my chest. I would have torn it out. Help me, Aneria! Help me! The end.